So good morning and welcome to our webinar on Rural Marketing and Production Grant for 2025. My name is Mike Moe. I'm the Director of Tourism Development and Strategic Partnership for State of Washington Tourism. I want to make sure that I am sharing my screen, so I don't think I am. Just give me 1 second. Oop. There we go. Today we're going to provide an overview of our second marketing and production grant. This grant is designed to help your communities create photo, video, and written assets for your destination, so then you can promote them for overnight visitation. First, I want to give credit to the Washington State Department of Commerce, who awarded SWT with a $3.5 million Destination Planning and Development Grant. This program provides the funding for this grant and all of our grant programs this year and next. So a big thank you to Commerce for their confidence in SWT. So here is our agenda today. Many of you have been through this before. It's going to feel very familiar. Hopefully, you've done a few of these grant programs and you're getting familiar with WiseHive and you have no problem. And I know that Tamara has probably been helping you guys too. So that will remain. Told I have a dark bar. I'll move this over here. Hopefully that just remove that. We are going to have plenty of time at the end to answer questions and maybe a few times throughout the presentation. So I will keep an eye on the chat. And don't forget to use that Q&A button. That makes it even easier to find your question. Also, as you know, this webinar is being recorded. I know I can have a tendency to talk fast, but we will send a link out to all of you so you can review the webinar later at your own leisure. So let's go ahead and get started with the program overview. The purpose of this grant is to help underserved and underfunded, and yes, rural communities develop tourism asset and content. However, I again urge you not to get too hung up on the word rural. That word is in our enabling legislation, and helping rural communities will always be an important part of our mission. However, it's not the only thing that we look at when considering a grant applicant. It's also very important to us to touch every part of our state through these grant programs. And in the past, if we'd used, one of those rural definitions out there, we wouldn't have enough qualified applicants to allocate all of our money, and we would have limited ourselves to a very small part of the state. And so while we certainly look to support our rural areas, we also look at the application holistically in terms of need. In the past, we've even given money to organizations who've needed it, who are located in Seattle. So again, hopefully that clears things up. Don't get hung up on that word. The purpose of this grant is to help communities develop tourism assets, including photos, videos, and written content that will hopefully help promote the destination and ultimately increase overnight visitation. Now, this grant is not intended to pay for marketing campaigns. In fact, Commerce has explicitly said that we cannot pay for any marketing campaigns with this EDA money. So please keep that in mind. But this grant is really to give you the building blocks for destination marketing. Applicants must be a Washington-based organization, such as a local government, like a city or a county, a tribal organization, a chamber, a destination organization, or some other nonprofit that supports tourism and travel. Here are the key program dates. Please note that these dollars come from the Department of Commerce, and we can only invoice Commerce after we have contracts in place with our grantees. And then we can only fund the grants once we've received them from Commerce. So you'll notice some of as soon as possible. These grants up is because all of this money needs to be expended and you need to have your final report done by the end of 2025, December 31st. So please keep that in mind as you go. Up to $50,000 will be awarded for each grant. Matching funds are encouraged but not necessarily required, and we have a total of $355,000 available for this program. Make sure to include usage rights in your budget for your organization and SWT if you are applying to create photo or video assets. That's always very important when negotiating with people who do asset creation. There will also be a place to indicate if you're open to a smaller grant amount. One thing I should note is that if you apply for this grant, you are not precluded from applying for any of our other grants. You can apply for more than one. Though it's not necessarily in our grant criteria, we love to see collaboration with other stakeholders, including your DMOs, your chambers, your tribes, your local government, and land managers. One thing is part of the criteria, which I'll show you in a second, but we also want to see how you plan to show that your community is welcome to all visitors. So I have mentioned this before, but this is federal grant money. So there are stringent and occasionally baffling federal rules that we all have to follow, and that honestly have slowly kind of revealed themselves over the process of of doing this grant program for almost a year now. First of all, when using federal grant dollars, they are federal grant dollars all the way from the federal government through commerce, through us to you, to whatever they hit the business or subcontractor that you use. So the rules don't change all the way through. So all the rules that we're imposing on you, we have also had to follow those same rules. So first of all, you and any contractor you use will have to have a UEI number, which you can acquire for free at sam.gov. That
Mike,
UEI number also needs to be active and registered. Okay, so you,
Excuse me.
yeah, go ahead.
Sorry. So the contractors that they use actually do not need to have the active registered UEI.
Sorry, you're right. Yep, I have
Thank
that
you.
here. So yeah, the UEI, the grantee organization needs to have that. Your contractors just need to have the UBI and EIN. Thank you, Tamara, for Tamara is the real expert here. So we appreciate you chiming in here. The contractors also must be billed on a reimbursement basis, and so you pay them after you do the work, and then they send you an invoice. So you need to keep that in mind. Every dollar spent needs to match a receipt. So we'll provide you with a reporting template, but you really need to keep track of the dollars on these grants. Finally, dollars cannot be used for staff salaries. You actually have to hire somebody to do the production for you. You can't just be your marketing person or your uncle, or it's got to be you're hiring a legit person to do the work. Okay, lastly, after you submit your application, our grant review committee will score the application based on the criteria listed here. We want to see a focused we want to see a focused production strategy. And I believe this criteria, we need to update it, but that's really where you show us your plan. Okay, so how are you going to produce the content? And then what are you going to use to showcase? In your asset production strategy, I'm going to send this criteria out to you later on, because I think we have a couple of these bullets that are wrong, but you don't want to tell us that you're using X production company, because you have to go through a process to bring on a production company. So just say what you're doing. Don't tell us who you're using in the application. And then how will this project generate overnight stays and visitor spending for your community? So once you have these assets, what are you going to do with them? Then destination need. Why is the funding important? Commitment to inclusivity, and then how will you show that your community is welcoming? And then tell us about any kind of match funding available, along with your ability to execute the project and comply with the reporting requirements. So I'm going to go ahead and stop there. I know that there are some questions there, and I want to respond to them. But first, I'm going to let Tamara Rice, our Destination Development Coordinator, come on, and she will walk you through the application process.
Hi there, everybody. Yeah, first, let me tell you where you'll find the application link for this grant program. You'll find it on November 1st is when this grant opens up on the SWT's grant landing page. And now I'm going to share my screen with you. So this is going to be a repeat for a lot of you, but I'm still going to gear this towards those that have not seen this before. So the first thing you'll see when you click on the apply link from the grant landing page is this program info page. And this has a lot of the information that Mike just went over. It has the application process and timeline, stipulations for working with contractors. Please really read this and understand it. If you have questions, let us know. Also, the reporting requirements for this grant. We also include the FAQ page link for this grant program, and also for the application portal, there's an FAQ. We'll be including the recorded info session from this webinar, and here's my email address if you have questions. And the next thing, when you click on apply, it will lead you to set up a new user account if you haven't already done that. So when you're setting up your new user account, you'll be entering this information. When you click on create account, you'll receive an email with, I believe it's a 6-digit passcode that you'll need to enter in the next screen. If you already have an account, of course, go ahead and enter that information. And the next thing you'll be doing is creating a new organization if you haven't already done that. When you do this, please ignore this, the blue box, create using GuideStar. Unfortunately, we're not able to hide that, but what we want you to do is create your new organization with a button that's just right above the back button there. And I already have a organization created. So these are the questions that we ask you for your organization profile. You'll be entering in the organization's legal name, the EIN number, your registered active UEI number. So on the UEI numbers, this is kind of still a hang up for some folks. Just having a UEI number is not enough. You need to go the extra step of registering your UEI number. So if you have a UEI number and it does not have an expiration date, it's not an active registered UEI number. If you don't have that, you'll want to get started right away. It takes a little bit of time to get that, so please don't wait on that. You'll also need your UBI, your Washington UBI number included here, your organization's mailing address, and enter your primary contact information. We'd like you to enter more than just the primary contact for your organization contacts, and you can enter up to 3 here. If for some reason you don't have another contact to enter, please just include NA in the first 2 fields that are required here. You'll have a spot here to enter any DMO information, and then you save your profile and continue. Then it leads you to the eligibility check. So the eligibility check is 2 questions. Does your organization reside in Washington? And this is a requirement, so I'm going to click yes. Are you a for-profit business? For-profit businesses are not eligible to apply for this grant, so I am a nonprofit. I'm going to click no on that one and check my eligibility. So I will start applying now. Up at the top here, you'll see this like three profiles. You can click on that to add collaborators if you'd like to have somebody help you out with submitting this application. And we'll go to the project information. So we have several questions here: your project title, the brief description and summary of the project, and the grant amount requested. This grant, the maximum amount is $50,000. As Mike said, we would like to know, are you open to partial funding? You'll enter that information here, yes or no. The estimated total cost of your project. Also, your project category. You can enter up to 3 selections here. If you do click on other, a window will pop up here and you can enter that information. We've included fields for fiscally sponsored applications. Fiscal sponsorship is eligible for a nonprofit organization, but for-profit businesses are not eligible to apply with a fiscal sponsor for these grant programs. We also have an FAQ, or on the FAQ, we have a lot more information on fiscal sponsorships. So you can look at that and also contact me if you have additional questions. Oh, and one more thing on the fiscal sponsorship. If it is a fiscal sponsorship application, the fiscal sponsor is the responsible party for submitting this application. You'll be selecting the region, and you can select as many regions as you need to on this. And sorry, I'm having a little technical issue here. Hang on. Darn. Oh, let me see what I can do here. Mike, are you still seeing my screen with the application?
Yep.
Okay, thank you. The next is project location. And on this one, if you have additional locations, please enter that here. That leads us to application questions. And so we have 7 questions here. The first one, it's at a 30% weight. So there's 800 word maximum on that one. And the others are 400. Now with these, you'll want to kind of watch your wording. I've had folks contact me. They've had a little bit of a challenge, a glitch with the WiseHive application if they try to submit with more than the maximum word count or more than 800 words on that one. And we'll move on. So that leads us to the supporting document section. We do need to have your provide proof of your EIN in a form of a verification determination letter to prove status as a tax exempt entity. If you're unable to find your determination letter, make sure you have an affirmation letter, which you can contact the IRS to receive. I've been learning that it's been taking up to a month or maybe even a little bit longer to receive that. So please do not wait on that. We also need for municipalities, we need to receive an EIN verification letter from them as well. Next, we need your UEI active registration confirmation. Again, don't wait on that. Here's the information or link to register your UEI number. Also, we'll need your UBI confirmation for your Washington UBI, and here's a link for that. We'll need a current signed and dated W-9 form. There's a link to the W-9 form here. And then also your grant applicant budget will need to be uploaded. We're requesting you use the SWT's template for that. It makes it a lot easier for when our review committee is going through these budgets. And so you're able to upload this information here. And we'll also need your organization's annual budget information and marketing budget. Now this, you will not be able, and we don't want you to upload a spreadsheet for this. We just need rounded numbers. We'll need your legislative district information. If you have more than one to include, please enter them with a comma in between. And you have the option to upload additional documents. Let's say maybe you'll want to submit a draft quote request. Now on this, as Mike said, you'll want to not mention any third-party vendor on this at all. We'll need a description of your organization and your organization's website URL. Letters of recommendation, this is an optional field. You can enter up to 3 references and 3 letters of recommendation. And that leads us to the agreement and signature. So this is an agreement that you have completed this grant application with integrity and accuracy. This is not a final contract. A successful applicant will receive an award contract to sign. And then we'll go back to application home. And I'm sorry, I'm having a little bit of a challenge here, a technical difficulty, but what you will see up here at the top is submit your application. You'll also see a spot to review, a button to review. Now make sure that you spend the time to review your application really well, get a second set of eyes on it, because once you submit your application, you will not be able to edit it. If I see something in your supporting documents, if you submit your application in time, I can request a revision on that. And then you'll click submit and you'll receive an email confirmation for that. Let's see, anything else? You'll also receive a WiseHive, oh, I just said that WiseHive email confirmation. So I think that's about it on that. I'll put my email address in the chat box there and stop sharing.
Thank you, Tamara. And
Thank
I
you.
know you guys saw it in the application, but I'm just going to, I did update my little slide here. So this is the grant criteria. We'll send this out to you, the whole presentation later on, along with the link to the webinar recording. You can also find in the grant page on our website the FAQ page, which has all sorts of information, including this grant criteria. One other thing that I wanted to do really quick, just so you are familiar with it, to show you the budget template that you'll be submitting. It's a very simple Excel spreadsheet. It's just telling us what the activity is, description of it in relation to the scope of work, and then how much from the tourism grant you'll be expending on that, expending how much you'll spend yourself, and then any kind of in-kind or like donation that somebody would be offering for that expense. So again, very, very simple. So I have one question here. Are city governments considered nonprofit or for-profit? I believe that they're tax exempt is the word for that, but they are eligible for this grant. Hopefully that answers your question. All right. There's only one question. That's it today. You guys are just becoming experts on grant applications, huh? I will sit in uncomfortable silence for another 10 seconds. See if there are any other questions coming in. All right. Well, I think, Tamara, do we have anything else from your side?
Looks like we have a couple more questions that just came in the Q&A.
If we received it before, are we discouraged to apply again? No, you're not discouraged. We do take into account of kind of, where grants are going, but I wouldn't say to discourage anybody from applying. It seems like the focus of this grant is cities, municipalities, or organizations focused on tourism and destination marketing. That is correct. Would a nonprofit that offers rides and tours around the state be eligible or competitive in applying? Yes, I still believe that would be, tourism. I think that would be eligible. And it's hard for me to just say competitive in applying because we'd have to see your application, but I would see no problem for you to apply if you're an eligible nonprofit. Can you talk more about written assets? I think that, for example, if you had somebody who was writing stories for your website, or you can't do actual marketing campaigns, but you can have written content for your various platforms. Hopefully that answers that, Debbie. Okay, with that, we are always available to answer any questions. I'll put my email into the chat as well. Although, as you've seen here today, Tamara is really your go-to person when it comes to the grants. So we'll give you back a half hour, 35 minutes of your day, and we really appreciate it. And again, we'll send a follow-up email with all this information along with the recording and the presentation. All right, thank you so much. Have a great day.